Hi, everyone. Good evening. Waiting for everyone like I usually do. If you're new here, I'm Roxanne. This is everything about Hallmark. We're going to talk about the Chicken Sisters. I don't know about you, but I can see what Rona's saying. They really did pack a lot into this episode. They really did. There was a lot. And in my mind, because I get confused, because I get the screeners, so I get this, I'm like one episode ahead of everyone. I kept thinking that we only had one more episode after this, but I realized we have two, which is a good thing because there was so much that was left hanging that I'm like, how are we going to tie this up? I felt like it would be rushed. So I'm so glad that there's two more still. Oh, goodness. Tell me if I don't know. Am I wrong to think that this was the best episode of the season? I mean, there were wows of last season, especially when Gus burned down her house. But this to me was the best episode of the season. Yes, Avis, I agree. It definitely was exciting. Absolutely. Yep. Jam packed. So, before we even get started and talk to me, okay, because I'm here by myself. Avis and Curry and Candace and Rona, let me know what you think about this. Before we even get started, I I don't know what I was doing. I was thinking about this was before I saw I saw the episode. I was thinking to myself, paying attention to all of the things that keep repeating and how in every episode the mayor suddenly had a part, and I felt like it was going to be a lot that has to do with that train arm, because I've been talking about it since day one. But I was like, what if something happens and Nancy finding her voice is Nancy becoming the mayor? What do you all think of that? I think I posted that somewhere, and I felt that way before I saw this episode. What do you think? Nancy becoming the mayor. Have you ever heard the word widowmaker before? Avis, I'm leaving that there and we're going to talk about that. I have, but not for a tree. She was talking about a tree. You're not late, Susan. We're just getting started. So before we talk about that, Avis, I'm going to leave that across the screen so I don't forget. What do you think about Nancy? What do you think about the likelihood of Nancy becoming mayor? I know she's got major responsibilities with her work, but not really, because she's got that whole crew now. It's not just her and her son and daughter-in-law. It's the daughter-in-law plus they have is it Shonda? Shonda? What's her name? Why do I get that wrong? I'm terrible, terrible. We have her backing and always there. And she even says that we have Gus. And no, Gus is a little sick right now, but they're all together. Yes. Nancy should become the mayor. I agree. Yes, Arlene. Yes, yes, yes. And I think she would be a good mayor. So do I. And I love it. So Avis, have you ever heard the word widowmaker before? So that was a flashback, right, of her with her husband talking about the tree. And you know how when the narrator starts in the beginning, it just evolves through the whole story and they kind of tie it into the end. And it was her from, when her husband was still alive saying we really should trim the tree and he doesn't. What does that mean? I've never heard of the widowmaker for a tree. Or is that just widowmaker in general? Um, because when we talk about a widowmaker, that has to do with the type of a clogged type of, artery and a heart attack kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what you mean. Okay, Arlene says it's a lumberjack term. Oh, I've never heard of that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. So I'm trying to think, what is it? Is it because the limb coming down is so big and it's a big part of the tree and it could, kill someone, or is it because it's dangerous for the lumberjack to actually make the tree, is it called fell, instead of fall? I don't know. Okay, here's Avis. Thank you, Avis. A widowmaker is a huge dead limb, okay, on a tree that if it fell, it would kill somebody. Okay. All right, got you. Got you. And her husband didn't listen and he wasn't going to have that tree taken care of. Mm. Well, them mentioning it, I knew it was gonna play a part in the whole story because it's right outside Gus's window, right? So, we all agree, Nancy for mayor. What do you think about Nancy and Pastor Bo? You know, they said their goodbyes in the doorway, and do you think he's gonna get out of town with this storm? Do you think something's gonna delay that he doesn't go? What do you think's gonna happen with that relationship? I'm curious. And I was also thinking that, like, will he have to stay? Because they say that you love the kiss. So did I. I did too. I love them together. I'm thinking to myself, what about, like, I know he's a pastor, and that is God is first in his life. I guess should be in everybody's lives, but that believe. But I get that. But I'm thinking maybe he'll have like a reckoning, or it'll be like a sign that he's not supposed to go. Because if you read, and I am not giving out information or spoilers, but there is a description for each of the episodes, and if you read it, it says that in the aftermath of the storm, they pick up and help each other. They unite as a town. So I'm wondering if he realizes that he has to be there, because maybe, there's destruction. It is a tornado, and you know how destructive tornadoes could be. I mean, we rarely in my lifetime, until I was an adult later in my adult life, like in my 40s, did I ever experience a tornado here in New Jersey, South Jersey. And I've experienced it a few times, but the damage is nothing like when you're out in Tornado Alley. So what if it tears up the town and he wants to go and rebuild? Well, he can rebuild in his own town. These are just my thoughts, because I don't want Pastor Bo to go. But if he does go, I want it to be that we see he comes back. All right, here you go. Let's see. He'll leave and Nancy will throw herself into running for mayor. But he's going to return, right? He's going to return. What if he returns back with a wife? Mm, I don't know. I don't know. I don't, I just hope I hope the whole series returns. Let's say that, okay? I don't know. These are just some musings I have. Oh, Carrie, let's hear what you have to say. My house was torn apart by a tornado. Oh, gosh, Carrie. Oh, that gives me chills thinking about that. Oh, 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 oh. I don't know. It feels like it's almost as if, you find out someone, God forbid, has been in your house, like you were robbed. You feel so violated, I guess. Oh, gosh. Well, just to digress a little bit, mhm, and me and my family's sense of humor. So my sister has the big, giant, major Italian wedding. Okay, her reception, and not to just to put it in perspective, was so beautiful that it was like in a magazine. It was gorgeous, right? And my sister, when she was a little girl, and all the little girl cousins and all, they, since they were babies, would always say, "Is it a tornado?" Because I guess they watched too much of Wizard of Oz. I'm serious. It's a tornado coming. I'm like, we don't get tornadoes here. So we are driving. It's her wedding, and it stormed tragically. Okay. We had a great photographer you would have never known, but it stormed tragically. When she's in the church and the priest is saying all kinds of stuff, there's crashing and booming, and Hamilton was under a tornado watch. Okay. Oh my gosh. So we're on this one road that leads us out of town, and there's farmland on both sides. And I'm getting phone calls from all the girls, my sister included. And I said, Dad, this is what's going to happen, because we were in the same limo. You could see the funnel cloud out in the field. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to see it and panic. And they were, is that a tornado? And I'm like, it is, but it'll be okay. And so even the driver called and goes, what should I do? She's freaking out. I said, keep going. You were Curry, you were asleep when it happened. I don't know. I feel like we've got Bo. Is he out when this is happening? How about the woman who came in from New York City, right? To talk to Amanda. She's out there with her raincoat on. What, and also is Dum Dum Frank Jr., who doesn't want to be Frank Jr., driving Amanda, don't leave me, driving around, right? And I'm wondering, and Clayton, he's out there. I'm wondering if something is going to happen to someone. You know what I mean? And it kind of brings them back together. I surely will be mad if this sets back the divorce between Frank and Amanda. I want them to be divorced. I will be so mad at the story writing. Okay. I will hunt down the story writer and say, no, no, no. They must be divorced. I don't want it to be something happens and she's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. No, that part of her life is over. Please. Okay. It feels like Beau is looking for the kind of wife that is there to only support her man. That is no longer Nancy. Rona, yes, but no, because he wasn't always. See, this is why I fell in love with the idea of them being together, because he so appreciated who she was and trying to become. And then there's suddenly this shift that doesn't make sense to me. It does to a degree, but not totally. So I feel like maybe there could be a little switching back. I mean, this is his calling. This is something that he wants to do. And I know in relationships, when people are together, there'll be a time, like let's say you get married and you're still like wants to go back to school. So the other one's supporting the other one a little bit more. And then when that's over, you do a flip and it's your turn. I get that. You have to support each other more than the other at different times in your relationship. So right now, he was expecting her to be very supportive of him because was something he wanted, right? And what he needed was her to be there to support him. But that's not where she wants to be right now. I get that. But that doesn't mean that that was what he always wanted. Do you know what I mean? And he might be able to do what he wanted to do there because the town is going to need him. And who would be filling his shoes anyway? I wonder. Wonder if somebody new coming in from town. I just don't want him to be gone too long. I love the character and I want him to be back. And I really do love him in his long hair. He looks quite handsome, don't you think? All right. Let's see what this says. Debris from a tornado could keep people in town. Carrie, I agree with that. I think Clayton's not going to get far. Let's talk about Clayton. Remember, I had shown a photograph of how he was when he was dancing. He was like so in the moment, and the way he looked at Gus, and it was like, what if? And Gus sort of says this to Nancy. What if he was just in love with the memory of how she made him feel? And deep down inside, he kind of really is a selfish man. I mean, he hurt Amanda. I'm not Amanda, I'm sorry, May. May was so upset because she realized he didn't come for her. It was almost like, yeah, she was there, but he really came for Gus. And then when Nancy has that whole talk, she's like, you weren't there when my husband died, yet you were always there. And you never mentioned her once, almost as if he has like a narcissistic flair about him. I don't know. I was disappointed, but then I kind of had that little bit of a feeling, but I don't know how far he's going to go. Maybe his life will be threatened and then, he has an aha moment. I don't know. I don't know how that one was going to go. Let's see. Arlene, could the reporter be mistaken for oh, you know, that's interesting, Arlene, because I was wondering about her giving her. I didn't know if her offering her jacket was just to seal the deal of how cute and wonderful the town was. And that actress, actually, I can't think of her name. She's been in several movies. So it's not like she would have a 2-minute part. That is so interesting. What if something happens to her and Frank Jr. sees it and thinks it's her? Oh, that brings up some good thoughts, Arlene. Yes, trapped in a tornado wreckage. Yes, because what's happening is, and I thought, oh, here we got some little, how long is this going to be? All night long. We're going to have in the dark Amanda and Sergio. And we already know they're feeling feelings because we've been watching that unfold, right? How about when she had to switch her outfit with her daughter and he's like kind of looking at her like, I don't think he liked it. I don't think he wanted other people to see her that way, I feel like if anyone is injured, it will be Gus. Really? Having MS, her legs will not get her off the second floor. That is true, and she said she's hunkered down before, and they already the widowmaker limb already crashed through the her window, so she covered herself up, right? So, maybe, and something's going to happen. Maybe Clayton comes back to help her, something redeeming. I'm not quite sure. I don't know, but there's a lot of drama that can be unfolding here. It was an exciting and extremely emotional episode for me, and I'm going to talk about the emotional part in a minute. When the going got tough, Clayton splits. Yes, he did. That's why I was wondering though, I don't know. Do you really think that's who he is? Do you really think that there's not gonna be something that's redeeming about him? Mm. Yes, and what kind of business is he in? See, that's the part that I thought would happen, where he really does love Gus, that he really did wanna come back, that when the going gets tough, he wasn't gonna go. And then we found out after all of that, it was his business and what kind of business he was in that would be like the shady part, not so much his feelings and his intentions. That's the shady part. Maybe maybe that's another layer. Maybe he stays and he kind of redeems himself, and then only to we find out after he really stays and he kind of redeems himself, then we've got the whole unraveling of his past and his work, because he's kind of like, I don't know, wishy-washy. Oh, import, I do a little this and that. Like, what's that say to you, right? Illegal dealings, right? All right. So, Avis, that could open up more stories. And if they're smart, and I don't know how they're working this, I do know, and I've said this report before, they had already had season 2 written before season 1 was done, I think, or it premiered, because we talked about that before. I don't know what's happening with season 3. I just hope that, not that I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but we know how we feel about anything that's iffy when it's a series. I hate to be left hanging. I hope they tie it up in a sense that we are satisfied with where things were going. Like, or we're, well, maybe we're not satisfied, but we know that there is like a tie up for all of those stories and we're not left hanging. I don't know. I was hoping he was honorable. Doesn't seem like he is, and it made me very unhappy. I know, Rona, but I'm hoping that it's sort of like that climax, like building towards the climax, building, building, building. And I feel like maybe he's not just going to disappear into the night. All this stuff is going to be affected. All these storylines are going to be affected by the storm, right? And we're going to see how they behave. Where's he going to be? He's in his car trying to leave town. Is he going to come back to where he was staying? Is he going to have to hunker down in a house that he's passing by? You know what I mean? Maybe it's May's house on the way out. I don't know. I don't know. Let's talk about poor May thinking that she's got the curse and her wedding's not going to take place. How lovely is Jay? He is so lovely and so his own person, right? And yet so accepting of his neurotic May. And she is neurotic. And I hope that we get to I know the show's about the women and how strong-willed they are and how they're learning to find their voice, while some already had the voice and used it all of the time. But I just hope that Jay also gets more of his own little storyline as time goes on, besides just being May's support. What do you think? I just love how he's just so in love with her. And sometimes I think it's not easy being in love with her. She's kind of like a prickly person. Hopefully Clayton is one of the ones that help with the rebuilding. Okay. And he might have the financial funds to do it. And if Nancy's in charge, because at least we know she might be in charge for a while, because I don't know if there's any deputy mayor, and it looked like the mayor was not doing well. He was, I don't know, was he having congestive heart failure? I'm not hoping they make him die, but maybe he's got to retire, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing, and she gets to take over. I loved it. I loved when the two women are in there and like, oh, but it's protocol. We need permission. And she's like, move out of the way. And she's like, yeah. And the whole goes through the town. Listen to me and my sound effects. I love that. Okay. I don't know. Now, all right. Let's talk about Mm, the best, the best part of this episode, I don't know if you felt it was your best part, but is when Nancy gets in that hallway and tells off Clayton. I loved it. And then when she goes into the room, there's poor Gus with tears in her eyes, and Nancy feels bad. And Nancy's thinking that the tears in her eyes, and I'm sure some of it has to do with Clayton, but remember, Gus says that, she may have been in love with the idea of being in love and how he made her feel, that made her squash down her intuition because she's very good with it. And she just wanted to ignore it for a while. But when she's crying, and what I loved is what she said to Nancy, and she says, "No one," oh my God, it's gonna make me emotional. "No one has ever stood up for me." Like, oh my gosh. And but of course, I'm just recapping it. The way they wrote that was, I don't know, I cried. I had a full-on cry. I had to rewind it to watch it again. Those two women are phenomenal listen to me, scene, scene partners. When we talk about chemistry, it's not just always like a sexual chemistry. It's not that. It's more like just chemistry in general. Like, I think on When Calls the Heart that Rosemary and Elizabeth, those two actresses, share one. I would love to see them in a movie together. Share wonderful chemistry on when they're in a scene together. And I feel the same with Nancy and um Gus, or Leah and Wendy. Those two actresses are great. Okay, and together they're a lot. All right. Yes. It was so sad seeing May crying, knowing Clayton was disappointing her. I know. But she was also crying because Nancy really got right in there and said what for about her, and I loved it. I love that Gus heard the conversation and was happy that her sister stuck up for her. Yes. Yes. Leah and Wendy feed off of each other in scenes. They surely do. They really do, Arlene. And I like it. I like it. And they should be recognized for how good they are, because they are. This is my beef with this series. I don't understand why there aren't so many people out on social media that are Hallmark people talking about this series and watching it, because it is beautifully written and very well acted. The director's doing a great job. The scene is the setting is wonderful. So what the heck? People should be all over this. I see them all over stuff that's like, what? Like, like, are you kidding me? I know we like happy endings. I know we like all of that. I get that. But this is about family, and it has really good feel good things in it, just like in this episode alone it did. So I'm disappointed that they're not out there and like really in droves supporting it. Not that I'm saying it's failing, but it's almost as if it's underwhelming for them, or oh, I'm not going to watch it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no reason why not to watch it. I really like that Gus and Nancy are so close now. So do I. But I love how they're very close, but they didn't lose personality. Do you know what I mean? They still have their personality. And Gus says some of the most, this is what, this is Nancy. Nancy did this to me, or this is all Nancy, when she's all dressed up and spiffied up, and I don't know. I think it's cute. Um when Frank Jr., when you saw all the men, Nancy's driving by and you saw all the men lined up to get into his, his, like, he's got all the not cameras, the TV's on with all the sports on, and the men were kind of like hiding when Nancy found him, and she goes and she wraps her hair up like they don't know who she is with that flaming hair. She wraps it up and puts her hat on, and she sneaks in and eats the chicken, and she knew he stole the recipe. So when is it Shonda? What is her name? Rhonda? Shonda? What is Shauna? Shauna? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain issue. When she comes in, he's like, "Oh no, no chicken sisters are allowed in here," kind of thing. And she slaps him with that document. I was thinking to myself, yay, they're going to sue his butt for stealing the recipe. But they didn't even get that far. It was really him being served with the divorce papers. Then he breaks in her house. He breaks in his house if the locks were changed, and that's why he's riding around like this. I want them to sue the pants off of him and Mr. Chicken. I want him to suffer. He needs to suffer because he's a baddie. I'm happy with Nancy and Gus being really good friends. Yes, so am I. All right. There's a lot that can happen in this next episode. There really is a lot. We didn't talk about this. I forgot this. How about that Crester is back? And it looks like he's very much interested in someone. So I'm like, oh, we got another little pairing going on. She's funny. Um, the the things that she says. What was she saying? She was saying, Sabrina, is that what it is? She was saying, why can't I remember anything? It's late at night. I'm losing my mind. When the one line, this is so wildly inappropriate, but I'm going to say it. When she was on another show and she's like, it's karma for, I don't believe in karma, but this is what she's saying. It's like karma for all the things that she did in her past with the shows that she had, that her wedding was getting destroyed, the wedding she was planning. But she said, this is because I once had to take a mortuary. Wasn't that what it was? And turn it into a nursery. And I'm like, oh my God. Some of the lines that she has are so funny. Here we go. Hallmark PR social media people are engaging with fans or using other actors and actresses to promote. Yes, this series. I know the person who's in charge of the team that's in charge of this particular series, and they are. Is that what you're saying? Telling me, Arlene, you've been seeing them. It's still, there's something amiss that I have to look at the ratings, that I don't see more people talking about it, more fans. I've seen all of the actors saying some fun, cool stuff. But the other thing I notice, and if you notice, is, aren't, thank you. They are, though, now having them say a little bit about it. But here's the other thing I was going to tell you. They're not anywhere giving interviews. I don't see a junket for it. Like, they did a little bit of it before, and they went with people from outside of Hallmark, and I know why, because you're trying to attract more people. But the Hallmark people themselves, the fans, the fan base, like, the usual that you would see in different podcasts, I have not seen many of those actors on. It's not like I've seen them being given interviews or chatting or talking or whatnot. So I don't know what's going on with it. It is very much deserving of a lot of love because it's very good. We're blessed because we're watching it and loving it and dissecting it, and it makes it last longer, right? I'm not saying anything negative. I am not privy to anything. I'm not saying it's going to be canceled. I don't mean anything like that. I just mean I would love a larger fan base, because it deserves a larger fan base. It really does. It's good. It's good for Hallmark. Very good for Hallmark. Avis. It seems like to me that all of the promotion on Hallmark were for Providence Falls and the Groomsmen series. Once in a while, you see a commercial for Chicken Sisters. So, Avis, let's talk about that. There was quite a bit of stuff for Providence Falls because it was something unique and different. It was called a special event. It wasn't even called a mini series. And it was unique and different. The cast, they promoted it so much because the two leads were not traditional. Like Lachlan, he was in one Christmas movie for Hallmark and had like a little line. And Katie Stevens has her own big giant following, and she was never in a Hallmark movie. And I think that's why they did it, hoping to appeal to other people to bring it in. And it was summertime, and summertime, it doesn't matter how good the rating is. When you put it in a summer slot, it's going to have the lowest of the ratings. It just does, especially in that Augusty type time slot. So I think that is why they were giving it such attention, and they should have rightfully given it the attention they did, because I've talked to you about that. If you've not seen it, it's a shame, because it is the best thing that was ever written and put out there by Hallmark was Providence Falls. I feel like Chicken Sisters and The Way Home falls into this category when it comes to storytelling and acting and everything else that you can imagine. This is the type of is fantastic. You can pluck these up and put them anywhere and they would be successful. So they are a gift to come to Hallmark. Um, some people are very like, I'm not watching it. I don't recognize any of the people. That's silly. There's always a day when you didn't recognize someone. That's not the reason why not to watch. All of them are that well written, that good. I love Hallmark. I've been here for years. So this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. I just wish they had bigger. Now, going back to the thing with I didn't think that they gave so much fanfare to the groomsmen, not more than anything else, and it's a trilogy. I think it got just as much as the other trilogies, like with the brides, the 3 brides, and I didn't even watch it when it came to Hallmark Channel because 'cause I've already seen it because it premiered on Hallmark Plus, so it had premiered on Hallmark Plus months and months ago, so I've been well aware of it. It's the general public they're trying to share it with now. Um isn't some of the regular Hallmark actresses like Ashley Williams from the South? They are. Yes. There's quite a few actually from the South. I mean, why haven't they asked Sissy Spacek to promote her daughter's show? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Sissy Spacek isn't maybe she's busy. Maybe there's I don't know, she's not available or around. I have no idea. Because they have some big names, right? I don't know. I don't always understand how they promote. Like I sitting from here sometimes think to myself, they don't misunderstand certain things. Like they are so much that they have to promote that they kind of do all the stuff to promote it for people to watch and then leave and then start on to something else, which I think is a mistake because it's after something's premiered or why it's like if it's a series, why the episodes are going. If you have your people on, they're more free to talk about it. People pop in, then they start falling in love and understanding, and then they go back to watch. Maybe there's something they didn't want to watch. And then after they hear about it, they get interested and they go back. I think there's a lot to be said for after. And once it's after, they want to move on and then they lock out some people, I think. So I don't know. They're overwhelmed, I guess. Every social media site I get on has Tyler Hines and Jonathan Bennett splashed all over the place. Avis, they always do. They they actually Tyler Hines is on everything because he's got other movies that are coming out too. And this is old what they have out currently. And Jonathan Bennett, you have to understand, Jonathan Bennett has his own podcast and his own stuff that he's doing himself and that's why you'll see extra more of it. And you see Andrew Walker all over the place, everywhere you go. So there are certain people who they promote because they're the people that are their, kings and queens, and they've been there for a while. And the people who love Hallmark recognize them and see them. So they're going to have them all over because they're not going to take that away, right? And then also introduce some new content. So, yes, it does seem like that, but it is for a lot of things. I don't know what's going on with this one. Hi, Michelle's back. Yes, she needs to bring back Home and Family to promote these programs with the stars. Um, Yeah, that there was that Home and Family, right? And they did have an opportunity to sit to be there, but what Hallmark does now is that Hallmark Live where it's not really live, it's pre-recorded, and then it comes up on Facebook and they're interviewing each other, which is a little awkward, but I think that might be economically more feasible and easier for them to do. Well, I want a new king, Chris. Well, Avis, okay. Yes. Okie doke. Yes. Yes, he's a very good actor. You know, we're kind of getting away from the Chicken Sisters. I didn't know if any we can because I was gonna share my thoughts on something. Is there anything else that we need to cover from this episode other than it was wow, and I'm, very excited to see the next episode? I mean, I'm only one person that could be out there. I felt like I need to say more about it on my Instagram account because it's so good. I just want people to fall in love with it. Something else that's coming up that I really enjoyed, and I'm excited because we're going to see it's 6 episodes. We're going to see is Mistletoe Murders. You've heard me talk about this before. And Sarah is just she's I don't know, she's just so good. And they have Peter Mooney in it. He's fantastic. So they are going to have the 6 episodes soon, and it's going to roll into 6 new episodes. So if you don't have Hallmark Plus, that's okay because the 6 new episodes will be on Hallmark Channel, and they're going to go there first. So that will be like 12, I don't know, Sundays. I think on Sunday they're going to be on. I think 12 Sundays, and that's coming up soon. It's so good. Um, I don't even know why I got off on that tangent, was just thinking of something, oh, that's coming up and new kings and queens and things like that. I like the phrase CRS, can't remember stuff. The preview for next week was so good. Yes, guess what? I missed that. So I didn't even get to see that yet, but I kind of know what's going to happen. Okay, I'm excited. All right, let's go back to um, you loved it. So did I, Rona. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I want to go back real quick to the Chris comment. So Chris is a really good actor, and he's excellent because I love when an actor has all it's not the same. You know what I mean? I remember having, a theater and it's like a local theater, and there's one actor who's fantastic, and he would be in a lot of the things we did, but he would, even though his character was different, he sort of still had the same mannerisms. That is not the case with Chris. So Chris is like, his full body is in it, right? And that's that theater part of him, I think. So every he each character is different, and he plays them so differently. To me, sometimes I even feel like he physically carries himself and looks different. Um, One of the things that I think happens is that you kind of get locked in for whatever reason. So if you're making a movie and something else comes along and you want to, that's not Hallmark. I don't know. I feel like you're kind of stuck a bit. And it's not that you can't do something else, but maybe you can't. You know what I mean? So I don't know if certain people want to be locked in like that unless they have some really good deal where they are told you're going to be in this many movies. If you think about Andrew Walker, he does at least one of the catering episodes a year. I think there was 2 one year. He does at least one of those, and you know that he's always in a Christmas movie. He's usually in a fall movie and in a summer movie, and I feel like he's got 4 or 5 movies every year. The same with Tyler. He's always going to be in a movie for Christmas and in the summer. And, like so there's certain people that are locked in, and Chris, I don't know, he likes to do all kinds of things. I'm not speaking for him. I'm just saying that might be what we want, but that might not really be what we want. um, Sarah in Ireland, I believe, filming something Jen Lilly wrote. Not sure if it's for Hallmark or Lifetime. Oh, I heard all about that. Is that the movie? Wait a minute. Jen Lilly was doing something where fans could actually like donate money in some way. It was like this like fans were involved, this fan project. I stumbled across it accidentally. So she has a podcast, and I think she was talking about it or something on there. I think that's cool. Let's see what happens with that. That could be fun. Could be really fun. Yes. Arlene, you know what I'm talking about. Are you saying yes for Chris or yes about what I was just saying? All right, girls, it is 40 minutes after, and we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. Chris shined on the in the clips you could see. Yes, he did, but Avis, it's funny because I looked at it and I thought that they all kind of shined. Sometimes we see things because we see things, and we have to be honest here. I thought everyone was really did a really good job and were really fun. He's always fun on stage, and he's very comfortable. Let's say this, if you notice this, and I don't know if he really is, but he is, realizes that he's very comfortable live than he is any other way. Like when he's on that stage, I think he feeds off of the audience. And that's that theater background that he has. And not everybody feels that way. So I think that's why he always shines, because he's more relaxed, but maybe he doesn't realize it, but he is. That's what I see. Um, Yes, and it does take half of the year to film. I agree with you, Carrie. That kind of locks in all of them. But people are like, "But Erin made a movie, and she did. She made another movie, and so and so made a movie." Oh, I'm going to talk about this week my predictions from some of the information we discovered from the Hardy reunion. Jen Lilly, it was a contest, yes, for a fan to have a walk-on role, but it's hush hush. Yes, I know. Yes, yes, yes. And also something else. There was something else that involved the fans, which is really cool. I like that she's doing that. Good for her. She's like out there doing her own thing, whatever makes her happy. Kevin has made several too. During the course of the year, Kevin made um one or two extra, I think. I remember the last time that Chris was on, which was with me, was June, right? Towards the end of June. And we were asking him about Christmas. And he said, a Christmas movie. And he said there were a lot of wonderful offers that came through. But what happened was the way they were scheduling it, them, he couldn't do it. There was a scheduling conflict. And here's the thing about that. When we were done talking, I was thinking there was still time for him to sneak in a movie somewhere, because the filming didn't start until I forget where there was like some weeks in between. And it takes about little over 2 weeks to do the filming. And what if an offer came in and they put it all together? And did you notice, did Chris get his hair cut just to get his hair cut? Or is his hair shorter for a role? Ooh, what if he snuck in somehow? Something that would be a very like wonderful surprise for us, right? I don't know. We'll see. Yes, we'll see. All right, friends. Next week's going to be exciting. Okay. I want to go check the ratings. I want to see what's going on. I'm excited. I want there to be this fantabulous season 3. I don't want it to end. Yes, I know that you love Chris. I do. Here's the thing about me, Avis. I'm going to say this. This is important. I'm going to be objective. I'm never, I mean, I'm never going to be, because someone is my favorite, that I think that they should be in everything. I'm going to be objective. I love Chris. He's fantastic. You already know this. But sometimes, post the ratings. I will, Avis. I will. Sometimes, because we get blinded, it's like, your child can do no wrong. That never flew in my family. My mother was always the first to say, what'd she do? If the teacher called, and the teacher never called for me, the teacher called for my sister. But what did she do? My mother was not the type that said, not my kid, and we're not like that either. We are very like aware and honest and objective. So I have to be objective. So when I see something like Chris, like where Kevin's been in many, not really, he's been in like a couple, just like anybody, like all the others. It's okay. And yes, we really do need a season 3. Woohoo! That's the way we should end tonight. All right. Bye. See ya. Good night. Go to bed. Good night. Good night. Good night.